Oh boy, that was horrific. Horrific. I've never been through a storm like that on a bike. The wind was insane. It was so strong, I even wondered if we were going through a tornado. I guess we would have been blown away like Dorothy and Toto, but we kept on until we got to Walden, stopped at that gas station. We called Hotel Wolf in Saratoga where we stayed last year, and they have a room for us, and we have reservations to eat in their restaurant at 8 o'clock, so we put on our rain gear, and this rain gear is not coming off. Ow. I think it's still crappy weather. That hail really hurt my fingers. The trucks flying by, that wind blast made the really strong winds and windy, gusty winds even worse. Look, there's still doing something over there. Right over there. I looked at the radar, and there is rain showers surrounding us, so we'll probably get into some more. There's some rain over there. But at least we're about 60 miles away from Saratoga. We're not super far. An hour away, and it's a perfect place to stop. We loved it last year. We're not going to make it as far north as we had hoped and planned, but that's okay. I'm glad they have lodging. Then I called home to check on the puppies, and my neighbor Carol said they seemed kind of down in the dumps. I always feel remorseful for going on a long trip like this, and the babies are so used to us being there, but the heat in Oklahoma is in the heat index is like 110. And our air conditioner has a hard time keeping up with that kind of heat. We need a new air conditioning system. Maybe next year. By next year we'll have something new installed, I hope. I'm going to start doing my research on it. Might have to forego a summer trip next year to get a lot of things done in the house, home repairs and things like that. But so I'm feeling kind of, after that hailstorm, and we were in the red part of that storm. I looked at it on the radar. Bad, but I'm glad we survived to tell the story. Survived to tell the story. Yeah, this is only day 3 of our trip, and I'm already feeling really bad about my little dogs and my neighbor and my brother-in-law having to take care of them and feed them and take them outside, and I really have a great brother-in-law and great neighbor. Carol's one of the, I think she's probably the best, she is the best neighbor that we've ever had. It's nice to have good neighbors. I had a bad neighbor before who didn't like my dogs. Our dogs, we don't have a fenced yard. We have an open a large front yard and backyard, and a long driveway that swoops around the backyard. And when they were out in their front yard and not on a leash, she came over one day and said, "You know, there's a leash law in this community." And I said, "Well, they don't need to be on a leash. They're fine. They're in their own yard." So anyway, that turned out to be a little argument with her, because she was nasty even before that, and I just pretty much told her, I said, "Why do you have to be so nasty? Like, what did we ever do to you? Just because we have dogs? You don't like dogs?" And the lady started crying. My husband came out, and I threw my hands up and I said, "I don't know why she's crying. She's the one who came over here telling me my dogs needed to be on a leash, and they're just fine. They are trained. We trained them to stay in their own yard." And so Bill had a talk with her. She said she ended up selling that house, and we have different neighbors now, and they're pretty cool. So far, so good. They've been pretty cool. Anyway, Carol's a dog. She's an animal lover, and I really appreciate her. And that's a shout out to my neighbor Carol. She might see this video. You're awesome, Carol. Thank you. I owe you so much for taking care of my babies and helping Uncle Don. And didn't have cell phone service for the longest time, and until we got to Walden, or right before we hit that awful storm. And I had to get my phone off the mount, and I just unzipped my jacket and threw it in there on my chest. It slid down to my belly, but I just held it there until we got through the storm. I didn't want my phone to get damaged. It's a new, it's not even it's an old phone. I just bought it a few months ago. And anyway, I said a few cuss words, few choice words. I think anyone would have under those circumstances. Scary. Bill didn't want to stop or pull over, and I'm kind of, now, hindsight is 2020, I'm kind of glad that he didn't, because we would have been out in the freaking plains, probably getting pummeled longer than we did get pummeled while riding through the strong winds and hail. So I'm glad that we kept going and got to the gas station. When I called Carol, she had sent me a few texts. I guess she might have sensed in the tone of my voice that there's something wrong, and I told her we just went through an awful storm, and she goes, "Oh, you're a little shook up," and I was like, "I guess you can say that." I said aggravated. It was aggravating to have to, but it's an experience I'll never forget. I can tell you that much. There was really nowhere to pull off. I mean, we were out in the middle of nowhere. There was one pull off where that RV pulled off, but we had no shelter. We would have just gotten pummeled and blown around. Our bikes might have gotten blown over. Who knows? It was that strong. I mean, that wasn't an insignificant storm by any means. That was pretty significant and dangerous. It was very dangerous. That's what happens when, though, I mean, you don't, like I said, the weather in Colorado is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, it may look beautiful now and sunny and sun shining bright and the cloud and the storm just passed and you think it's past and it's gone and it gets hot again. Get back on your bike and ride, and next thing you know, you turn a corner and bam, there are some ominous looking clouds. Oh boy, I hope we can skirt it, we say, and yeah, we didn't skirt that.